How did the Russians conquer Siberia, and why did the Russians conquer Siberia? Welcome to the Geopolitical Thinker. I am your host, Dr. Geopolitician, the Lord of Geopolitics, so let's begin. The conquest of Siberia by Russia wasn't a quick military campaign, but a gradual expansion that unfolded over nearly 2 centuries, 1580 to 1778. Here are some key factors that contributed to the process. Early inroads. Cossacks, these semi-independent Russian explorers and warriors, often motivated by fur trade, played a pivotal role. Ermak Timofeevich's Cossack force in 1581 is traditionally seen as the official start of the conquest. They defeated the Khanate of Sibir, a weakened Siberian state, opening the gateway to further exploration. Exploiting divisions. Fragmented local powers, Siberia wasn't under one unified rule. The Russians strategically exploited rivalries between local tribes and khanates, gaining alliances and weakening resistance. Superior technology. Firearms. While Siberian tribes relied on bows and arrows, the Russians possessed superior firepower with muskets, giving them a significant advantage in battles. Gradual advance. Forts and fur trade. The Russians established forts at strategic points, consolidating control and using them as bases for further exploration and fur trade, a key motivator for the Tsars. Challenges and expansion. Siberia's size. Despite early victories, conquering Siberia's vastness took time. The Russians faced rebellions, harsh weather, and resistance from some groups like the Manchus in the Amur River basin. Legacy. Siberia as part of Russia. The conquest ultimately brought Siberia under Russian rule. It became a source of furs, minerals, and a vast territory shaping Russia's identity as a Eurasian empire. Why Russia conquered Siberia? The reasons for the Russian conquest of Siberia were multifaceted, but some of the key drivers included fur trade. Siberia's abundant fur-bearing animals, particularly sable, were incredibly valuable in European markets. Furs like sable were a major source of wealth for the Tsars and a motivator for Cossack explorers who profited from the trade. Expansion and security. The Tsars desired to expand their realm eastward, both for prestige and security. Siberia provided a buffer zone against potential threats from Asia. Conquest also allowed them to collect tribute from conquered peoples. Natural resources. Beyond fur, Siberia held vast potential in natural resources that were unknown at the time of conquest. These riches, like oil, gas, diamonds, and gold, would become tremendously important in later centuries. Exploration and glory. The vast unknown of Siberia also held a certain allure for explorers and adventurers. Conquering new lands brought glory and solidified the Tsar's power. It's important to note that the conquest wasn't always a smooth process. There were rebellions by subjugated peoples, harsh weather conditions to contend with, and rivalries with groups like the Manchus. However, the potential rewards, both economic and political, ultimately fueled the Russians' drive eastward. There wasn't a strong, unifying ideological justification for the Russian conquest of Siberia. However, there was one interesting concept that played a role. Legal claim through expansion. The Tsars used a legalistic argument. Conquering the Khanate of Sibir, a weakened Siberian state, became the basis for claiming sovereignty over the entire territory stretching to the Pacific Ocean. This concept of legal justification based on initial conquest helped legitimize the vast expansion eastward. It's important to note that this wasn't a full-blown ideology like spreading a religion or a political system. It was more of a legalistic tool used to bolster Russia's claim to the vast Siberian lands. The conquest was primarily driven by the economic and geopolitical reasons mentioned earlier. Thank you for watching the Geopolitical Thinker. I am the Lord Geopolitician. Stay tuned.